I don't use the conversion metrics inside of a paid media platform to gauge success of my marketing. And that's where I think most businesses or most agencies fail, is they trust the source. When you look at the in-app ROAS, which means if you look at Meta's ROAS or you look at Google's ROAS, that is designed to get you excited to spend more money. And then you look at your business and you find out it's going bad. So what are the things that we can at least trust?
Hello and welcome to the Perpetual Traffic Podcast.
The show where we talk about how to grow and scale your business, and not the show where we talk about the sound efficacy of various microphones.
I'm Ralph Burns, the founder of Tier 11.
And I'm Lauren Petrillo, the founder of Mongoose Media.
Very glad that you joined us today, and we'd love for you to come hang out over in our Telegram group, which is crazy busy and lots of engagement. We'd love to have you be a part of it. That's perpetualtraffic.com/Telegram. I'm sure that today's episode is going to prompt a lot of conversation over there. We can continue that conversation over on Telegram. And we're not going to talk about microphones, although apparently we should at some point in time to save you lots of money from buying the wrong podcast microphone. Not going to get into that today. Today, we are going to get into something that John Moran, one of the newest members of Tier 11, which I just love saying those words together. It gives me joy that John is a member of our leadership team at Tier 11. Very excited, obviously, to have him on board. He's been on this show many, 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 many times. I think the most popular guest. Even more popular than you were, Lauren, before you became the co-host.
I knew you were going to say that. I could see you teeing it up.
I can't believe it. But anyway, so John Moran is here today. And this is something we stumbled on in our leadership meeting yesterday. And John broke the cardinal rule of Angela's leadership meeting, is that he actually did a screen share of something that he figured out, and which really pissed her off. But I'm glad it did. It's good to challenge authority every now and then. Ange runs a tight ship on our L10 calls. But you figured something out about the idea that Google might be price fixing. I can't imagine a company such as Google would do such a heinous thing.
I mean, John, the not-for-profit and the philanthropic nature of Alphabet Company is very shocking. I understand.
Hey, do no evil, man.
Yeah. And what's weird is when we hand the reins over to Daddy Google, when we're talking about what our CPCs are, I started thinking the other day, I'm like, you know what, if everyone's on automated bidding strategy, how could it possibly be a auction anymore? It's an auction against, ourselves and Google. It's no longer an auction of who is willing to pay more for the positioning. So I ran some tests. I used 10 case studies in the past 5 years and looked through all of my automated bidding strategies campaign with and without TROAS, TCPA, with and without max conversions and max conversion value, and identified a really systemic issue that each time I would hop into an account and add any ad spend, the CPC would arbitrarily increase. However, my top search impression share, my absolute top search impression share, which means are you in the first 4 or number 1 on Google, did not increase. So I'm arbitrarily paying more for the same people, but not a better positioning. So why would the CPC increase?
Very good question.
Right. And one that I didn't pose to Google for fear of being suicided. So
They do have 72 million data points on you and every human on the planet. Probably for you, like 90 million data points.
I was going to say,
they really know where you live.
They know. There's a tracker. There's a weird black van outside of my house now. So I started looking into it and said, you know what? I think I can reverse engineer the algorithm if it's actually a price fixing model. What's interesting about this is Google is running around like chickens with their head cut off, trying to call every Tom, Dick, and Harry that has a Google Ads account and said, we need GA4, we need enhanced conversions, we need this and that and everything else. The loss of cookies means the loss of revenue for Google. Why? That's because if Google doesn't understand how much that traffic is valuable to you, they can't arbitrarily increase your CPC. And I'm sure that everybody that has been inside of a Google Ads dashboard that is listening here today, ask yourself if you have seen your CPCs increase without really knowing why or questioning that, where it's, why am I paying more for the same amount of traffic? Now, Google's official answer is, well, there's upper level auctions that you can only get into if you pay more CPC. That's the literal definition of price fixing. We won't let you play unless you pay. That's what that is. So I thought, okay, well, the conversion algorithm is going to see a CPA and a ROAS that looks healthy. And as you increase ad spend, it's a signal to Google by saying, you're happy, let's add more ad spend. Well, because you're happy, you'll pay more for it. So this is one of the literal definitions why companies can't scale. Why I scale and I dip ROAS. I scale and I increase CPA. While yes, that is a factual law
of diminishing returns.
Yeah, but it's also when you're looking at the amount of traffic that drive into a site, you have three. I talked about this before. You have three main buckets: the cold, the warm, and the hot, which is like people that have never heard about you, the people that have heard about you, and the people that want to buy from you. Right. When you add an ad spend, you can only increase the people that have never heard from you. They're not ready to buy yet. You can't increase all levels of the funnel at the same time. So yes, CPA increases and ROAS does dip temporarily.
Sure,
is what it should. It should dip temporarily. It dips permanently sometimes. Because Google's just like, well, now your click went from $2.50 to $3.33. So unless your conversion rate increases drastically, you will hit that point of diminishing returns. But it's fixed. It's a price fixed model. Google rewards itself because it shows how much good value to you. So the reason why I'm starting to think about, well, Google's panicking because they're going to lose out on the amount of conversion value they know that you have. Also, Google is panicking that if you don't see that conversion value, you'll stop spending. If Google says if they stop seeing the conversion value, meaning the advertiser stops seeing the conversion value and they're going to stop spending, that is an indicator for me to know that that's also what Google is watching. So whenever you're using TROAS or TCPA, a target return ad spend or targets cost per acquisition, or if you're using maximize conversion value, when the traffic becomes more valuable, that's when you'll see also your CPC increase. So this is what I thought is, okay, if it is tracking that, and if that's
Stop
yeah.
right there. Say that again, because that is key to this whole thing. And if you think about like what's best for Google, like they know you want that stuff. Exactly. They know you want that, so they're gonna charge you more as a result. Mm-hmm. Of the fact that they figured out based upon conversion tracking, this is what this advertiser wants, and it's automated within the algorithm. So say that one again and just make sure that we get that clear, because I think that's an important concept here.
Yep. I'll do you one better. I will do a screen share here, and I will show you the points that Google is increasing my CPC as I increase my cost. Now, here's what's crazy. This is a company that works fairly well. It is something that is we sell literal tons of rocks through shopping, like bulk gravel, river rocks. Yeah, for like a front yard. Not sexy stuff. And there's really no one else doing this. This is a graph here of a CPC and cost. Every Monday, I'd hop in and dump $100 more per day. And we started at about $400 a day, and then we've increased it now to about $1,000 a day. And if I collapse this here, you'll see that there's a weird bump in CPC where cost went up, so did CPC. 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 Every Monday. I'm like, this is weird. Now, I'll disprove the naysayers out there by going into change history and showing that this is just a budget change, a budget change, a budget change, a budget change, a budget change. I can't make this any more clear. It is literal, just I'm not messing around with, well, maybe you're doing a bid, maybe you're doing, nope. Okay. I'm just doing budget changes.
All right. Now, I'm going to interrupt you there again, because if you are listening to this and any of this makes sense, first off, it should. And we're going to reiterate this. This is fairly technical stuff. This is in the weeds. All right. But you have got to go over to our YouTube channel to see what John just showed. And that is perpetualtraffic.com/YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Like, we're going to be producing lots of videos, obviously, around this idea here. But this is this is a huge deal, like a huge discovery. And you stumbled on it or just sort of reverse engineered, figured, okay, if I try to do this, then it might work. But the point is it's actually working. And this isn't one case. You said that there's 10 specific cases that you've tried this on.
I have even an extreme example where we didn't track conversions for a year for one client because I was watching their lead flow through their HubSpot account because, long story short, they built a new website with a new bad developer. And when they tried to charge them arbitrarily, the client said no. And they said, well, you can't have access to your website. So we couldn't install conversion tracking. But that campaign never went over $1 in CPC. And I was like, there you go. All of a sudden I started conversion tracking and it went to like $1.80, $2, $4. I'm like, well, there you go. Here's something else that I think that you got to hop over to YouTube. If you're listening right now, stop the Perpetual Traffic podcast from your phone, go to your computer and look at this. This is the clicks and conversion value. Now let's go back to kind of this date range here. This is the clicks and conversion value going nicely in the right good line here. Mm-hmm. If you look at also the conversion value and the CPC, also going in a nice 27 cents all the way up to 61 cents. It literally doubled from March 25th to May 20th. So in less than 2 months, I now pay more than 2x my CPC. Now, this campaign already has a 5x return. So I'm already making decent money, but that's what Google loves. It's like, oh, you have a 5x ROAS. Yeah, I'm going to double your CPC on you. And I'll prove it here in the next screen share.
So 2 screen shares that prove the same thing. Basically, when conversion value increases, CPC increases because they know that's valuable to you.
Exactly.
And this is not like an isolated case, but it's sort of a simple correlation in a lot of ways. But like you live and breathe this stuff, and you've noticed this trend over time. And then the idea was, okay, well, I get that. That's part of like the deal.
Mm-hmm. I didn't accept it though.
But you didn't accept it.
Right.
You didn't.
So I put my tinfoil hat on, locked my doors, and I said, I'm going to try something. I said, I'm going to...
I know you've got like multiple hats.
I know, right?
Pretty sure.
Yeah. All made of tinfoil.
Well, a lot of tin. A lot of tin at the Moran household.
Google's after my brain with the satellites. I know it. So I said, here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to reverse this. I set up a series of events. I took my conversion tracking and I swapped it over to an arbitrary conversion tracking that had historical values, but don't have a lot or even recent history, which Google is now going to take as face value as, oh, it's just a different conversion action, not something that is new. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, I then set it up so that it is actually not necessarily tracking conversions, but still firing through a Google Tag Manager. So that is not something called tag inactive. Google's going to see it as valuable. Number 3, I made sure that the campaign is using an actual sales goal or sales objective. One is either leads or sales. Number 4, I'm swapping over from a automated bidding strategy to manual CPC with a 30% CPC reduction as to what my average CPC was last week. And then when Google sees that it is a conversion action that is live, that is valid, that is active, that's not new, and that my campaign, because the campaign algorithm is different than the conversion action algorithm. Conversion action algorithm was uninterrupted, but the campaign algorithm to the conversion objective, which is either goals or sales, is now going to look like this is becoming less valuable to itself. So what is it going to do? It's going to try to level the playing field. It's going to give me a spike in traffic, a lower CPC, a better positioning, and I'm going to achieve the results that I want to achieve without having to increase my CPC. Google is actually going to reward me with a static flatline CPC until the thing looks better, because that's what target CPA or target ROAS does. When your conversion value or conversions start to dip, Google rewards you with some more free traffic to get you back up to where you were fat and happy so that you can continue to scale. And Google compounds this revenue by not only getting more revenue per day, but also per revenue per click. So it's a 1 + 1 = 3 for Google. That test is amazing.
Why wouldn't you go manual CPC?
Oh, I did. That's what I'm saying. I went over to manual CPC, and I did without eCPC enabled so that Google can't adjust my bids.
Got it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the eCPC is the thing that obviously they're like, well, now he's making more money.
Exactly.
But okay. So just for those of us listening, Like this is obviously a big revelation here, but it stands to reason. Like as you scale, like this is one of the problems why agencies reach a certain level of scale, probably for your business. If you're listening to this, you're a director of marketing and you can't scale, or your Google ads agency, your Google guy on board, it can't scale. The problem is that this is at the heart of the issue, really, is this specific fact, which we've always suspected it. We've always sort of realized it. You see it. Obviously, you've seen it for years and years, but the way around it is a very dramatic solution. And that takes a lot of balls to do what you've done, which is, I guess I'm sort of teeing up sort of the next phase. Like, how do you actually solve this? Now that we've proved that that's the case.
Yep.
We've proved that Google is price fixing.
And I will share a screen share which will prove that for the first time in history.
It's a good thing we don't have any friends at Google. We have friends at Meta, TikTok, like all the other ones. Nobody at Google likes us, so we can say whatever the hell we want. So feel free to bash the alphabeters.
To all of my friends that work at Google, please know that I still want to remain friends. I love you all.
Oh my God.
Well, I think our big bag is stop gouging us, please.
Stop gouging, please.
I will spend more money if I'm not penalized for it. I'll spend even more. But for the first time in history, we will disprove the theory that Google's metrics are actually driven by us and not controlled by Google. And this is the result of test number 1. This here is a date range that I changed. I actually changed it on the 30th of May. From the 31st of May to the 11th of June, my clicks have gone up 105%. Went from 1,800 to 3,700. My cost went down $600. My search impression share went up 75%. My click share went up 42%. My conversions went from 113 to 0, which is what I want.
Right.
Now, my in-app metrics, because I killed conversion tracking, is now 0.
Right.
That's exactly what I want. That's what's catalyzing this. Then,
so Google's like, this campaign is tanking. I better lower this guy's costs.
Yep.
The welfare effect of let me provide extra support for you right now.
Exactly. The social construct of don't let anybody leave. Don't let anybody left behind. Don't leave anybody behind. I'm going to reward you by bringing you back up to the top. So my average cost went from $6.03 to $2.77. It's a 54% reduction in CPC. And everybody here listening is going to say, ha ha ha, well, there goes your positioning. Well, my search top impression share, how often I'm in the number 1 through 4 spot, went up 76%. And my search absolute top impression share, which means how often was I number 1 on the page, went up 10%. So I don't know an auction in history where I can bid 54% less than the person next to me and win.
All right, perpetualtraffic.com/YouTube. You got to go there.
Join us in our combined sigh of
the look of just Lauren's look alone. I think it's worth it to go over to the YouTube side, because you're just using their own algorithm against them for your own benefit. But what you're really doing is you're monitoring in real time. Obviously, the CRM, I'm not familiar with this customer specifically, but their sales in this particular case of heavy equipment, really, it's like you're seeing that, where are you measuring your success? Like if you're figuring this out, and those are dramatic changes.
I'm glad you asked. In the back end, we have a tool that identifies exactly what their sales are. And this is something that we use as our North Star. And I can only do this when I'm measuring your business performance metrics, your conversion engine metrics. Those are something we have to know. The conversion engine metrics are vital to literally your entire existence in business on the digital landscape.
That could be a whole episode unto itself.
Oh, it will be.
It will be.
It will be.
Coming soon.
The first week I did this, or the first 10 days I did this here, and that's on tracking. I can't read you off the title here, but just know that this is the same title that's in the Google Ads account. You'll just kind of have to trust me that we're blurring it out. My sales went from $18,124 to $27,099. So we basically increased $9,000. And we paid $600 less for it because our traffic doubled. Now, here's the most fun part in the world. Jesus. This is one of my other favorite ones. I have a really high quality CPC keyword, search keyword here. A really high quality search keyword is actually about a government certification. So everyone wants that keyword. Right. The first page bid is $22.29. I went from paying $9.74 down to $6.65. So I am now paying 1/4 of the targeted bid that I would need to spend in order to just get on the first page at the bottom. So I pay 31% less now. My click-through rate went from 6% to 21%. And my clicks went from 10 to 18. And how would I get a 21% click-through rate when I'm bidding 1/4 of the recommended bid that automated bidding would have used in order to get me to the first page? That is absolute insanity.
Everything we've learned about marketing is like being, well, at least inside, Ads Manager, Google Ads Manager. Of course, the question is can we do the same thing with Meta? That might be a secondary.
I got a strategy.
We'll figure that out there. Like, say those metrics again, just so the audience understands that. Like, these are huge pieces of capital equipment.
Yeah, I'll give you percentages along with them. My click-through rate went from 6% to 21%, which is a 238% increase in click-through rate.
This is fake math. Like, those numbers don't make you show them they're real.
They don't. Oh my gosh.
And what's funny is I have multiple ones on the screen. Actually, I'll reshare screen for the audience too. If you're going, I'll be like the annoying YouTuber. Smash that like button and subscribe.
Smash the like button. Subscribe.
But my click-through rate went from 83% up, 68% up, 20% up, 168% up, 26% up, 29% up, 166% up. I can't make this up. It's literally saying, your account's failing. Here's all of this free, amazing traffic and positioning for half the cost, because once that ROAS looks good, we know that you're no longer going to quit. I have another one. Now, here's the big thing. Now, what everyone's saying, cool, John, so you found a way to get a nice little CPC and something that is, it's working for you. Great.
They're also saying,
why do I care?
This is great because, you're probably positioning this into industries where this can be advantageous. And I sell something that's completely different, so it's not applicable to me. But 10 different cases we're talking about here.
Now, there's also, I did one of each kind of case, a lead gen, a digital services product, and also now physical goods, a physical product that you would sell on the shopping network. And here's the next test, and here's where things get insane.
More insane?
Even more insane. Even more. But wait, there's more. Order today for $19.95 and buy one, get one for the exact same value because Google's going to charge you more anyway.
Lauren's head might explode, actually.
So watch this. Before this test was ran, you'll see a large discrepancy here between the cost and the click metrics. There were always, I pay more to get less clicks. And on the day that I said, hey, I'm going to try to scale this company before my test, I said I'm going to go from $800 a day and getting 340 clicks to $1,200 a day and getting 441. So I only gained 100 more clicks, but I had to pay $400 more for it.
Right.
And on the screen, you'll see that blue line of cost jumped way higher than what I was simply rewarded for in clicks. And that is where you fail. Your teams fail, your in-house teams fail, your agencies fail. We can't scale. CPC gets too expensive. The CPA gets too high. The ROAS dips too much. We can't scale. Right. False. All false. Here's the reason why. Watch this. Watch my conversion value. I tanked it. Put it into the ground.
Zeroed
it out.
Google's says, like, wow, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. We need to give him some help. Let's lower his costs.
Yeah, or what do? We are not finding the right people for this client. He's going to quit. She's going to quit. They're going to cancel. So now, all of a sudden, my cost, I dip down. Now I spend not $1,200 for 441 clicks. I spent $600 for 400 clicks. And then watch this. Look at my scale. I have now scaled from what I used to pay $1,200 for 441 clicks. I pay now $1,200 for 803 clicks. This line being closer together means that I put $1 in, I get a click. I take $1 out, I get a click. They are so evenly matched. I am no longer hurt and I'm no longer penalized by CPC. I can scale this thing to now the moon, and I do not pay any more per click. I simply just gather more high quality traffic.
And the point of inflection really is like May, like the third week of May in that particular case. You see the lines diverging, and all of a sudden you took the conversion tracking off and they went right back, and now they are in perfect tandem. So this is going all the way back. Like, we're now recording this, in the middle of June. So this is not like a one thing, one time wonder. This is now weeks. You've been able to aggregate data and sort of prove this out.
Yep. And the best part about this too is these are both non-brand campaigns. Now, I need to have these two people who are witnesses because it will kind of blur it out a bit. And that's what's going to kind of stink. But I do like proof because this is the two products I have here. You guys can read this, but the rest of the world can't. But you'll just have to say, you'll see this one that starts with H, this one that starts with an R.
Yep.
I'm still number one on the one that starts with an H. I'm still number one that starts with an R. So I'm still number one. And here is the other part. It gets maybe even a little bit crazier about this too, this is part here. Watch this. And this is where it gets even more fun. When we were looking at these date ranges here back, and let's go to May 15th. So on May 15th, this campaign here, I only had at the first start, just this one here that starts with an R. I was paying $2.78. Okay. When I paid $2.78, if I go to last 7 days, I'm asking it to go to $1.85. It won't go over $1.50. On manual CPC, it will still not even hit my manual CPC bid limit, where a month ago it was blowing past that by $1 or 66% higher. So it now won't even go up to $1.85. It's like, nope, I'm flatlining at $1.55. Let me reshare here screen, and you'll see that this thing has literally flatlined. And it says, no, I will not charge you more. I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to be stuck. And you'll see our CPC line here in this test go from $2.41, $2.40, $2. Oh, look at this. Boom. Hit stuck at $1.64. And this has literally even gone down to $1.50 and $1.47 as my costs increase. So you see the CPC and the cost line shift. The cost now can continue to scale. The CPC is like, nope, this isn't valuable to you. I'm not going to charge more. You still get number one position. I won't even go up to the bid you're asking for, which I used to blow past $1 by.
So could you, in theory, sort of creep down that $1.85 manual CPC? Like, at what point should you? You did. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So I did do that. I went down to 85 cents. And at that point, I did actually lose my positioning and I couldn't spend anymore. So I brought it back to what is the cheapest I could be number one, which is still 50% cheaper than I used to be on automated bidding.
So you found your floor. Like, you basically halved it and you're like, whoa, now I've really screwed the pooch here. So I've got to go back to what I had before. So you've kept it at $1.85 on the manual CPC bidding.
Now I've kept it at $1.85. It will not go over $1.50. It actually has gone down to $1.46. I am still number one on the page for all my non-brand cold traffic search terms. There is no brand here. That's what the people need to understand too. This is a non-brand campaign.
That's huge. You could do the same thing for brand, I would imagine. Right?
Yeah,
but that's easy traffic. This is hard traffic. This is this is search traffic for the keywords.
Yeah. And that's the part too that you'll have to see this, that you're gonna have to trust me, the people out there in internet land. We're giving all this away for free, so you're getting your money's worth. But check this out. I won't show you the actual search terms, but you guys can see here. If I look on the search terms report, this, since I've had this here, you'll know the company up there, their name right there. There is no. If I sort of the last 20 grand that I spent, you'll see that there is not one brand in here.
Yeah.
None.
So this is all 100% non-brand traffic, cold traffic, new customer growth, new customer acquisition, without hitting a point of diminishing returns, without being penalized, getting 30% less than what I'm bidding, getting 50% less than what I used to be spending. And now I can scale this thing to a moon without hitting a point of diminishing returns.
And for those of you who've been listening to the show for any period of time, but we've never necessarily equated CPC with quality of traffic per se. So
Right.
the meaning, what I'm saying there is that like your CPCs typically increase is the value the algorithm understands. Like if you're bidding on a CRM keyword versus, a keyword that is, some obscure, like rocks, like what you're talking about, like something like really sort of basic. Obviously the CPC is going to be way more. In the personal injury law space, we have a lot of personal injury law clients at tier 11. Like some of these keywords are like $800 in some cases. Very, very, very specific because they know the value of it. But what we're talking about is an $800 keyword for mesothelioma, for example, or for CRM, which is probably a couple $100 is my guess. The point is like those are high value CPCs, but we're not talking about like crap CPCs that aren't going to convert. These are lower CPCs that actually are converting and turning into business that you're seeing in the back end through their CRM, through the methodologies that you have that understands what the business owner really cares about, which I don't give a crap about CPCs if I'm a business owner. All I care is like John Moran scaling my business.
Yep.
And he's doing it at a new cost to acquire a customer that makes sense for me and my business because it's more profitable. And you're able to scale, whereas in the past, other agencies or my lackeys that I have on staff haven't been able to do that.
Yep. And what's funny too is you'll see that in this test that I've been running, when you look at the search terms are exactly the same. They're just paying 50% less on. It's so my search terms, my non-brand on automated bidding and my non-brand on manual CPC using this conversion trick with tricking the algorithm to the wrong business goal that still fires. That actually has now shown that I am still getting the same exact traffic. And when you're talking about shopping, for an example, or inbound search, for example, it's a shopping campaign on a campaign with a singular product going to the same page with the same search terms. And I'm tracking first party data through our server side tagging to identify that these UTMs that were delivering this quality of traffic before the add to carts, begin checkouts, that kind of stuff, has that actually diminished after I took off conversion tracking, and it got slightly better. Went from like a 0.41 first click non-brand to a 0.43 and 0.45 first click non-brand. And it's been hovering and staying there as I've tripled the scale for the same CPC.
Damn.
So when you isolate and scale, PMax wants you to throw everything into one big room and then throw on automated bidding, and Google's like, all right, cool, I get to have full control. You've taken that away.
Yeah, I'm going to take all that warm traffic and man, it's going to look great in there. Look at my ROAS.
Yeah. And they did the enhanced conversion, which increases my my conversion tracking by 6% on search and 14% on shopping. So now I know how valuable this actually is to them to price fix even more.
So let's never forget the fact that Alphabet is a paid, like it is a for-profit organization. It's not 100%. A non-profit institution. They have shareholders that they have to satisfy.
I'm one of them.
Price. I'm one of them too. Like it's in every freaking mutual fund that I have, and I have individual stock as well. So I mean, I guess I get it. This is capitalism at its finest, but you figured out that this actually works to reverse to the disadvantage of most businesses unless they sort of understand this. Because at the end of the day, it is really like brand search terms. Like, I mean, you've been doing this for a long period of time. Like that's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's
like,
simple.
It's simple, and you getting customers who are already familiar with you or have bought from you before to buy again. Pretty simple, kind of easy. It's one of the easiest things to do in marketing. But what we're talking about here is actual new customers.
Scalable cold traffic without hitting, high CPAs and low ROAS. It's what every business owner understands that should happen in a paid media platform. But what also every business owner doesn't understand when their team say, I can't do that. It's not possible. There's a disconnect between the business owners, like, you're buying traffic, right? It's working well, right? Yeah, let's buy some more. And they're like, no. Why? This goes back to what the business owner wants or what the goal of that company is, and allows us to scale in the direction that we should have been able to scale if Google was telling the truth of how this works. What we did is just made that scenario happen.
Right. Right. So you also introduced something that we probably do an entire show on this, but I think it's important to have this as just sort of an overall concept. But you understand these businesses to the degree that you've seen the past history, you were able to make this change, you understand like the divergence and how it all sort of works based on CPC, conversion value, everything else. There's also a concept which you've talked about multiple times internally, especially on our leadership team, especially on our internal calls, is benchmarking.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that and how does this apply to it? Or does it at all? Or is it just a completely different concept we should do an entirely different show on?
No, absolutely. This plays a big role into it, but probably not the way that people would use it or would like to use it. That's why it's becoming difficult for companies to measure this way. I don't use the conversion metrics inside of a paid media platform to gauge success of my marketing. And that's where I think most businesses or most agencies fail, is they trust the source that we just proved is price fixing you out of even more traffic anyway. But when you look at the in-app ROAS, which means if you look at Meta's ROAS or you look at Google's ROAS, that is designed to get you excited to spend more money. And then you look at your business and you find out it's going bad. So what are the things that we can at least trust? Click-through rate? Good. How much are we paying for that traffic? Good. Are they cold traffic search terms? Is there intent? Good. Is my positioning good? Good. So it was easy for a person like me to simply kill all the conversion tracking because I've never watched it in the first place. I looked at the business health metrics, which we call the conversion engine metrics. So at tier 11, we have conversion engine metrics. How is the business doing? And what are we doing in our marketing that is driving those metrics in the right direction? I could care less what Google and Meta try to trick me into spending more money are telling me. So once that is killed, the byproduct of that is, am I getting a better position? Yes. Is the traffic quality? Yes. Is it something that I can benchmark and saying, did my metrics that I cared about, which is more good, high quality, cold, scalable, new customer traffic, did those all get better? Yes. Then did my business engine or did my conversion engine metrics, did that get better? Yes. And the byproduct of that is now we're rewarded. But the benchmarking was, if this looked at like A inside the application and my my conversion engine metrics look like B, if A equals B, if A gets better, then B should also get better. And I should expect to identify where that change will be. So those benchmarkings are looking at when things are healthy, what does the report tell you? And that's more to do with conversions, less to do with more vanity metrics. But those vanity metrics are what actually matters to your conversion engine metrics, not the actual conversion engine or not the actual conversion metrics in app. So benchmarking that is getting a health report. Like if my kid is happy, they come home with straight A's. Okay, well, my kid is now sad. They're going to probably have an F on the report card. That's all we're doing here.
Right. So, I mean, I think that's a really important thing for people to understand. I mean, we could talk about that for quite some time. Because, I mean, that's more like, what's the health of the business, not necessarily the health of the in-app ad account ROAS. Like we've talked about that on plenty of shows before this, is that the in-app ROAS is a false god in many cases. It's really, it's what matters most to you in the business. Are you acquiring customers? Do you have more money in your bank account this week than you did last week? Like those are the things that really matter. Those are the conversion engine metrics that we measure. So, I mean, if you're a CMO or a director of marketing or VP of marketing, I mean, here are the things you need to know. You need to send them this episode and tell them to get you high value clicks for the same budget and
More.
see what they actually
With less.
say.
Scale high value clicks without paying more. Go.
Scale high value clicks without paying more. I challenge you, media buyer agency, whoever it is. Like if you're listening to this, you're like, this is way above me. This is way too technical. And I get it. We will obviously make sure that you have links in the show notes that explain a lot of these things if you want to get down to the basics. But I mean, if you're running a business and you're listening to the show, like with it, the take home is that you can get less cost for more scale at the end of the day, utilizing this methodology. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're 100% spot on, which means your business metrics, or what we call the conversion engine metrics, will continually look better without being penalized by having to pay more.
It should be wrong. It shouldn't be this way.
It should
Right.
be.
Yeah, it shouldn't work this way, but it's the way that it was sold to all of us in the driver's seat.
Well, I mean, going back to the fact that it's a publicly traded company and they're trying to make money. But at the end of the day, they actually do benefit. You are going to be spending more.
Yeah.
Really, like everyone benefits by this. Google doesn't think so. That's why the in-app metrics are such a falsehood.
Yeah.
And you can always say this. I'm on a half a dozen calls every week, John. They're like, my agency says we're killing it, but like I'm getting killed.
Right.
And I'm like, I know why. It's because they're recycling all your warm traffic and then claiming it's brand new customers when they would have bought anyway. They're probably buying from your emails or maybe from your SEO or all the things that you don't really have to pay for necessarily. Mm-hmm. But it's like new customer acquisition. That's really what this is all about. And that's how you scale and grow.
Yeah, or there's so many moving parts you can't correlate because you engage conversions as part of Meta and Google and YouTube and Performance Max. And so your email campaign does well. And then Google and Meta are like, that was me too.
Yeah, that was me. That's me. It's me. I got it.
I can't tell you how many times someone has ran like a high quality, affiliate campaign and then they shut that off and then their whole business starts to go bad. But like their Google Ads campaign was tracking a lot of heavy inbound brand. And they're like, John, Google's failing. I'm like, and I'm not even managing. They kind of look at it. I'm like, oh, it's brand. What else did you do? It's like, oh, well, we stopped this influencer. I'm like, there's your problem. And so there's so many correlations that business owners shouldn't need to make. That's not their job. Their job is to, sell more dental supply tools. I don't know. Do what you're good at. Yeah. Leave it up to the marketing people.
This is an ecosystem, really, at the end of the day. And the marketing, the department, the people that are working for you, or you, if you're the business owner, or if you have an agency, should be worried about, am I actually growing the business as opposed to just making myself look good?
Yep.
Because the in-app metrics are going to do that. Because the in-app metrics are there. I mean, we love Meta, but Meta's job is like, we actually have a very good relationship with Meta. And I've said it many times. I love all the people over there. Everyone I've ever met, by the way, I've never met Zuck, so I can't speak to that personally.
His sister, yes.
His sister. That's right.
We've met Randy.
Yeah. Good point. So the point is that, but they want to make their like, it's constantly, even when we talk to Meta, like they're like, oh, well, this is better than TikTok. This is better than Google. They try and position themselves in a way where it's like, that's fine, but they all work together. Mm-hmm. And you need a source of truth. You need an individual. You need a John Moran kind of mindset that is selling business solutions, not just marketing tactics. And the marketing tactics are the things that are shown inside the platform. And the platforms will give you conflicting information. And it's really challenging unless you have, sorry to say it, but unless you have tier 11 that's going to decipher all this stuff for you, you're going to really struggle with this. So
you used to be able to trust the platforms, and now they are purposely designed to trick you out of spending more money, basically.
Yeah.
That feels so many feelings.
I'm really happy over here. Like, this is a huge win for me. Like, I feel like I've risen above all of a sudden, Alphabet in their own game. And that's why I said, like, I promise I'm a happy person. If I disappear, this was none of my doing.
Rob, this reminds me of when we had chatted with Tom and how he was just like, I'm going to flip the YouTube strategy on his head because of how they were seeing that the increase of cost had similar. There's just a lot of things that are like reminding me of.
That is true. Actually, Tom Breeze we did an episode with Tom. We'll leave links in the show notes to that, where he was intimating this exact thing. And I mean, I think anybody like who's been inside the platform has already sort of known it. You've been able to figure out a way to use it. It's not even against them. You're actually benefiting them, but the real beneficiary is the businesses.
It's funny. They both benefit. Like I showed you that area where I spent $400 more and then got discouraged.
Yeah.
And then since then I spent $1,800 more. It's like, once I'm not penalized, I'll give you thousands of dollars more.
Right.
It's so funny. It's almost like, paying a $20, price at the door, and then having the drinks cost, 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 each time you order another one. It's like, I'll pay $100 at the door for unlimited drinks.
Sure.
It's like, it's the same thing. Like, that's what's so funny. It doesn't make any sort of sense for Google to do this unless they controlled the narrative. And that's what they did. And that's what I'm leveraging. It's not necessarily that, Google is price fixing for profitability. What they're doing is adjusting the CPC based on how valuable it is for you. And that is something that, what's funny here, I'll even see this. This is my own company, so we don't have to blur this one out. But I'm running this test again for my own company. And so what's nice is you'll see I pinpointed this. I know we're a couple minutes left, and I won't go into this because it's a really good way to say, aha, maybe that's, if you're still not quite understanding why, there's a great screenshot that I can share with you that is just of the last 7 days. And I'm pulling this up. I'll be there in, give me 15 seconds. But we'll see here that, watch this. It's my own little luggage company. When you have a good day of ROAS, you'll see that the cost gets more expensive. I have a T ROAS of like $200 on this thing. So once I hit a 900 ROAS at $1.63, it just arbitrarily goes up to $211.
Oh my God.
I mean,
you're still at 466, which isn't bad.
Right.
But
right.
yeah.
It's like, whoa. You're doing really good. Let's skip some money out.
Hey there, big fella. You're doing a little bit too good.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you got a 900 for $1.47. All right, here's 250. Oh, whoa. 200's a little bit too low. Let's get you back up to 800 at $1.27. So that's all they do. They were just like, whoa, you're doing pretty good. I'll make a little bit. Oh, that hurt. Oh, okay, all right. Let's back it back down. So all I did was catalyze, haha. And they're like, I just removed all the conversion value. They're like, oh no, here's all the free traffic you want.
Right. All right, so here's the shameless plug. If your agency isn't doing this, or you have a team that isn't doing this, then you need to contact us, John Moran, over at tier11.com, obviously. Where can people connect with you? Is that the best place for people to connect with John Moran?
Right at the homepage of Tier 11.
There you go. Perfect. There you go.
Does it feature his tin hat wearing mug so everyone can know and appreciate?
I think on the Meet the Team page, we're gonna have to outfit you with a tin hat. I just think it'll.
I have a fruit leather that's got tinfoil in there. I'll just shove that in my headset right here. There we go. Perfect. They're coming for me.
Tie it into a pretty pink bow.
There you go.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that'll scare away Google.
Yeah, that looks scary now.
I know. Who the hell is this guy?
My strategy is just look crazy, not scary.
So make sure that you do go over to the YouTube channel. Seriously, like YouTube is perpetualtraffic.com/YouTube. That you auto subscribe to that. I would subscribe just to make sure, because you came up with this yesterday and we're like, can we get on a podcast like tomorrow? Like, that's how much preparation we had today. So this is the kind of stuff that you get through the YouTube channel and also through this show here. So obviously, thank you for listening. Make sure that you do subscribe and leave a rating wherever you listen to podcasts. Like I said, obviously, check us out on our YouTube channel. And if you want to talk about this, join our Telegram thread, perpetualtraffic.com/Telegram. That's a lot of calls to action, but the YouTube one, all worth it. So on behalf of my awesome co-host, Lauren Petrullo.
Ciao.
Till next show, see ya.